special edition of Koi Sports Corner. I did say that we would be back on Thursday, guys, but I got the big fella here, right now. We got a hot topic, excuse me, to discuss. It is Davante Adams. He requested a trade from the Las Vegas Raiders a few
Hmm.
days ago. A lot of people are wondering where's he going to end up. His top two, obviously, he said he won. It's New York Jets and New Orleans Saints, two quarterbacks that he knows the best. But
Hmm.
Todd, just would like to welcome everybody in to Todd Peterson here on the show. He's obviously my normal co-host on the show. I also have Ty Kirby that comes on and spills what he likes to say is the truth. Love him still. But Todd, where do you think Davante Adams is going, and where do you think he should go? So it's a two-part question. Go ahead.
Okay. With the choices that he has at the top of his list, the New York Jets is definitely not one of them. I don't think the New York Jets has a really good head coach, and I really think that before the season is over with, the reason that he would want to go to the Jets for Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be happy there. So I think that should eliminate them automatically. When it comes to the Saints, I do think he will fit in with the Saints, and I think the Saints will be very, very strong. And I think he can make some waves in New Orleans. But where the team that I think needs him the most, and that will put them right above where they are right now and where they want to be at the end of the season, Washington Commanders. Washington Commanders. As much as I would love to have him in Kansas City, we got a lot
That's
of
where I thought
things.
you were going.
Nah, I'm a Kansas City diehard, and I know with everything that we've invested in these young receivers that we have right now, even if he came to Kansas City, it would only be a short-term situation. It wouldn't be long-term. So if he's looking for something long-term where he's going to really catapult his career and really do some things and keep his name out there as one of the best wide receivers ever, I really think that's going to be the Washington Commanders. And not only that, but I think the fans of Washington will buy into it because it's going to let them know how they are ready to win right now. When you got that young kid, Jaden, when you got that one young kid out there playing quarterback, and I mean the kid is awesome, should have been the number one overall pick. With him out there doing what he's doing, you bring in a veteran like Davante Adams to go along with the 17 that they already have there. Now you're committed to winning. Now you're committed
I
to winning.
agree.
And I definitely will put them at the top of their division. They win that division. Not only do they win that division, but they make some noise in the playoffs.
So the answer of the two-part question, you're answering where he should go. You're not
Mhm.
answering where he will ultimately go. Okay, so you think he should go to the Commanders. Where do you think he ultimately will end up?
Mhm. That's a hard question. But
That answer. I got to hear your opinion on this.
I think it
It's
will be
valuable to me. It's valuable. I'm just saying. Go ahead, big guy. Sorry about that.
I think it will be the Buffalo Bills. The
Why do
Buffalo
you say
Bills.
that? Because I got a little pushback on both of the things that you say where he should go. I mean, I should say I have a pushback on where you said he ultimately will go, but I have
Mhm.
a little bit of an agreement with where he should go. But
Mhm.
why do you say the Buffalo Bills?
They can afford him. They can afford him, and he immediately makes them a Super Bowl contender. There's no guess about it. They're immediately a Super Bowl contender if he goes to Buffalo, and Buffalo can afford him. Buffalo needs a veteran wide receiver on that wide receiver staff, and
Absolutely.
with a guy like Davante Adams, they get everything that they need in that wide receiver room according to that trade. The day that they make that trade, everything they need in that wide receiver room is right there in number 17 from Las Vegas.
Um, I got to be honest with you. Of all the analysis I've seen on this and what people are projecting and what people think, he has said himself that his top two teams are the Jets and the Saints. That was Davante Adams. That wasn't a
Mhm.
report. That was Davante Adams saying he actually wanted to go to those two teams. So if the team will actually accommodate him, if the Raiders are going to actually accommodate him, that's another story because it's based upon what best deal that they get or that they think that they're going to, will
Mhm.
get, they're going to take that deal. So that's what it's really predicated on.
Mhm.
But um, I don't know about the Buffalo Bills because the Jets can actually afford him. They will have $87 million in free cap next year, free cap space next year for him.
But
They
that's
they do
next.
have the space for him. They
Yeah,
absolutely have the space though.
that's
Go
next
ahead.
year though. They'll have that money in cap room next year. The trade
Yeah,
deadline is November the 7th.
yeah. But they'll be able to take on his contract. He's only owed 16 million this year. They'll be able to take up his contract still for
Mhm.
off season next year when they have the space because he's due a million in 25 and in
Mhm.
26. So I mean, at the end of the day, they theoretically
Mhm.
still could trade for him and then decide what they're going to do with him after the season because 16 million. I'm pretty sure if they got to cut some roster spots of
Mhm.
some practice field, practice players or whatnot, practice squad players, they'll do that to make room for Davante Adams on that team for this year. I truly believe that, but I think it's all depends on what they think that's going to ultimately happen with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because why make that trade for Davante Adams if Aaron Rodgers if Aaron Rodgers only plays this year? Honestly, and Aaron Rodgers is the type where I'm sorry, he's a great quarterback, but a diva, one of the biggest divas as a quarterback I've seen in a while.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, as a quarterback, one of the biggest divas, man.
Oh,
So
definitely.
he's a wild card. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
definitely. And
I just
then you
want
look
to
at. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Then
No,
you
I'm
look at
sorry.
the.
I'll let you know what I think, but just I want you to finish. Go ahead.
Okay. Then you look at the top two choices that he has on his list. I think that's just him keeping GP. That's all that was because Derek Carr, somebody he played college ball with, pretty much grew up with. Aaron Rodgers, he
Yeah.
fell in love with their relationship in Green Bay. That's GP when he's saying those two. Of course, he's going to put those two at the top of his list because those two are the people that he knows the most. But ultimately, I think Davante Adams wants to win a Super Bowl. And I don't think either one of those places give him a chance to win a Super Bowl. So he's saying those two names just off of GP. They're his boys. He better say their names first. But when it comes to Super Bowl contenders, neither one of them are Super Bowl contenders. Davante Adams doesn't make the Jets any better. He does make the New Orleans Saints better. But the Jets' problem isn't the players, the talent that they have. They got one of the most talented rosters in the league. The Jets' problem is their head coach, Rob.
Hmm. Salah. Tell my Rob
Yep.
Salah.
Yep. So
Yeah.
ultimately, he's going to have to go to where he's going to be coached, and he knows that coach is going to run schemes for him and plays for him that's going to get him open that really utilizes his talent. I don't think they will do that over there with the Jets. I do think he has that chance in New Orleans because I think Derek Carr has a loud voice when it comes to the offense with New Orleans. But I don't see either one of those teams being a Super Bowl contender with or without him.
Um. I'll. I'm gonna say this. This is my thought process on Davante Adams and where he should go,
Hmm.
and where do I think he ultimately will go. I think he should go to the uh, Washington Commanders as well to be
Hmm.
that true number one to McLaurin. McLaurin can be 1B or two, but when Davante Adams steps foot on that field, he is the number one receiver out of those receivers, hands down.
Definitely.
So I do think so. That arm that Jaden Daniels has reminds me of a little Aaron Rodgers s, as in the velocity, the ease of the fling of the ball, kind of similar to what Davante experienced when he experienced his most successful seasons in Green Bay. Zipping the ball down to him on the line, just trusting him. Jaden Daniels seems like he trusts the play that Kingsbury is calling, and it's
Hmm.
showing. Those receivers are being where they need to be. So I think he would be, and I'm in agreement there with you, a great addition, if not something that could make the Washington Commanders really interesting in the playoffs. I'll say that. But where do I think he ultimately will end up? I think he will end up with the New Orleans Saints. The reason why I say that he will end up with the New Orleans Saints, the New Orleans Saints does not have any big time wide receiver under a major contract right now.
Hmm.
Not $100 million, $150 million. No JJ, no Stephon.
Hmm.
Nobody on that team is making that kind of money at the wideout position.
Hmm.
Okay, Derek Carr was not too expensive as a veteran quarterback. I think they resigned him in the offseason or whatnot. He was not
Hmm.
too expensive. You got Alvin Kamara, the main player that's making the most money, in my opinion, and rightfully so, on that New Orleans
Hmm.
Saints team. He, in my opinion, right now, he's the heart and soul of that team. The
Yes.
way you can really change life in New Orleans if you get Davante Adams out, and now he's mentoring Olave, he's mentoring those young receivers out there, like you were talking about. And now, what are you gonna do if you play 8 men in the box and stop Alvin Kamara? Are you leaving Davante single? Are you leaving Devontae single? I don't think you are.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to leave him
Are you
single.
leaving?
And
Are
that
you
what
leaving
that does,
Olave? Are you leaving Olave single? No, you're not.
it, but my point is, when you do got Devontae out there, he puts in a lot of different scenarios where it makes the defense say, who are we going to stop? Because now they got to try to stop three different people. Are you going to
Hmm.
stop Devontae? Are you going to stop Alvin? Are you going to stop Olave? Who are you going to stop? Because if you do cover two on Devontae, you leave Olave one on one with a number two corner. Because you know Devontae get the number one corner, he's gonna get that coverage all day long.
Definitely.
So, and another thing it does, it turns the NFC South into a real dogfight between them and Tampa, in my opinion. Because I think those are going to be the two teams. Ultimately, they're going to be vying for that NFC South. Ultimately, maybe the Falcons make a little noise at the end, make it interesting. But I think ultimately, because I think they do have the two best quarterbacks in the division, at least right now. Derek Carr's playing pretty decent. He had a little
Hmm.
rough go with the Eagles. Eagles got defense comes out to play sometimes. They really do. And sometimes
Yeah.
they just hold stout. But I
Hmm.
really think he turns that NFC South upside down. I think that he will be the most appreciated in New Orleans right now.
Hmm.
He's not playing with a great quarterback. He wouldn't be playing with a great quarterback, but he'll be playing with a quarterback that he's comfortable with. He'll be playing with a
Yes.
quarterback he knows, that he respects, that he likes, that he's going to
Hmm.
go and lay out for that ball to try to get that catch for him. That's what matters when you got a wide receiver and a quarterback combination and chemistry. Is that wide receiver going to lay out for that quarterback? Is he
Yeah.
going to die for that ball? Or is he
Yes.
gonna be like, he gonna cut off his route and be like,
Yeah.
I guess the quarterback don't know how to throw the ball. You can show your quarterback up in some subtle ways. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? You really can.
Definitely.
It's all about it's all about keeping there's a kind of how do you say this? There's a kind of thing that you a
Camaraderie.
code. Yeah, there's a kind of code that you gotta you're supposed to acquiesce to. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And I just feel like the best. I just feel like ultimately that's where he will end up. I don't think that the Raiders want to trade him to Kansas City inside the conference. Okay,
No.
I don't think that. I don't think they want to trade him to the Jets inside the conference. I just
Hmm.
don't think so. So they may have to see this man later on this year if they're in the fight for their life for a wild card playoff berth, and they
Hmm.
see that they're in Jets at the end of the season for whatever. Oh man, Devontae got 3 touchdowns, a buck 50, and 9 receptions. Man, that's gonna hurt your heart that you really did trade him like that, boy. Because he,
Yep.
he burst your bub at the end of the season when you could have made the playoffs. So I don't think that they're gonna trade him within the conference. So that's why I say I think New Orleans can take on a $16 million salary this year, seeing that they
Hmm.
don't have a big wide receiver under a huge contract right now. So I think they'll
Hmm.
have the space at least to do that, and then think about what they're going to do in the offseason and see if we can go further. Then maybe he can go to New York then in the offseason. Who knows? But that's what I think.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on the Devontae Adams trade rumors and where he's going?
No, I agree with you. I think if with the choice, with what out of his two choices, yeah, the Saints would be the logical one for him to make. But I think that in me just speaking for him, not knowing him or anything else on the outside looking in, I think he needs to get with a team that he's going to have a tenure there, not just for 1 or 2 years. You don't know how long Derek Carr is going to be the starting quarterback in New Orleans right now. You don't know how long um, his Rodgers is going to play with the Jets. However, Daniels is a rookie. He ain't going nowhere.
Oof.
So if you're looking for that big payday at the end of the season, guess who? Guess who has the money to give it to you, and guess who's not going to let you go anywhere? The Commanders.
And it's out of the conference too.
And then it's out of the conference. It's out of the
So
conference. So we'll see.
I'm gonna say it right here, right now. I think a NFC team ultimately lands Davante Adams. Mark my words right now. I think a NFC team lands Davante Adams.
I agree.
Too important to trade within the conference, not even a division, within
Yeah.
the conference.
Yes,
No.
I agree. Definitely not in the division, and I would definitely not do it in the conference. And
Yeah.
and I think they'll get a lot more from an NFC team because the NFC team would be willing to give up a little bit more than an AFC team. And the AFC team doesn't want to give any of their clout up either, just because they're still in the same conference. So I think the best deal for him is going to be an NFC team.
No, I couldn't agree more. All right, guys, we had to just give you a little content here. It was a hot topic. I wasn't going to let it go by without me and Todd having something to say about it, giving you our thoughts, what we think is going to occur with this Davante Adams situation. He is a big time wide receiver. He's 31 years old, been in the league about 10 seasons. Still, in my opinion, I put him in my top five. That's how good he is. Route runner, catching radius. I mean, just the whole 9 yards. The guy reminds me of a modern day Calvin Johnson from the Detroit Lions. If you guys know about the Calvin Johnson Detroit Lions, you know how great Megatron was. And I feel like Davante Adams, his size, his frame reminds me so much of Megatron, but not just of the size, but of his play because it's very similar of how great Calvin Johnson was. And I think
Yeah.
Davante Adams is on his way to that same greatness. All right, guys. Again, thank you guys so much for your time. This was me, Coy, here at the Sports Corner with my special co-host Todd Peterson saying, see ya, and we will see you tomorrow night, right before Thursday night football. You guys
See you
take
guys
care.
tomorrow night.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Corey, take it easy, man.
All right, you as well, big guy.